I'm born in Maastricht, I live in Maastricht, and I'm going to die in Maastricht. Because he was not proud of me. He never said, I love you. He never said, I'm proud of you.
André Rieu's inner circle has been shaken by rumors of a catastrophic diagnosis, and now his son is speaking up. Unexpected cancellations, a hurried departure, and tearful behind-the-scenes footage all point to a serious situation. Is an era coming to an end? Remember to subscribe for updates and stay tuned. The name André Rieu conjures forth images of grace, happiness, and enduring music. He has been in the center of classical crossover for more than 50 years, leading the Johann Strauss Orchestra with a youthful vitality. His shows inspire, uplift, and bring people together in addition to providing entertainment. However, something changed recently. Every time he performed, his fans saw changes. Tour stops were abruptly canceled, while previously planned appearances were vaguely rescheduled. Even the slightest departure raised suspicions for someone as dedicated and reliable as André. Online rumors started to circulate. Was there something more significant going on behind the scenes, or was it just exhaustion or schedule conflicts? André didn't say anything at all. He waved to his admirers, grinned on stage, and continued the music until he was unable to. Pierre Rieu, his son, then came out with information that validated what many had been afraid of. The maestro was dealing with a major health crisis. This was no ordinary cold or jet lag. This was not like the others. This time his son's comments suggested something more profound, and his tone was serious. For the man who always played a violin and danced through life, it was a turning point. We must reflect on a period when André's health first compelled him to leave the stage in order to appreciate the gravity of his predicament. André had a terrifying episode in 2010 while on what should have been a peaceful holiday in Belgium. He was utterly confused when he woke up at 3 in the morning to a spinning room. He was initially unable to discern what was going on. He felt broken by morning, like if something had broken within of him. He was diagnosed with vestibular neuritis, an inner ear inflammation-related disorder that impairs balance and coordination. He felt queasy and lightheaded from even small movements. It was difficult to stand, much less perform in front of thousands of people. He had been overworking himself, juggling several tasks, picking up new languages, and fighting fatigue and heat. Later on, André acknowledged that he only had two speeds in life: full throttle and complete halt. He was urged by doctors to postpone forthcoming performances, including extensive tours in Australia and the United Kingdom. André had never heard that before, but he had to listen for the first time. He reevaluated his objectives and performed balance exercises recommended by fans for months as he recovered. It was a difficult lesson, but he seemed to take it seriously until the symptoms reappeared years later. André had just returned to Mexico after a 6-year absence when the latest health scare started. There was an electrifying buzz. Excitation filled the venues as thousands of admirers, some of whom had traveled for days, arrived. Everything appeared to be proceeding as planned during the first 2 concerts in Mexico City. Then André suddenly became unwell. He had severe flu symptoms, including a high fever and extreme exhaustion, less than 24 hours following the second performance. At first, his team thought he might be able to overcome it, but it soon became apparent that he couldn't. The difficulty of this choice was later disclosed by his son Pierre. The combination of the lack of sleep, the jet lag, and the altitude in Mexico City had created a perfect storm. After a lengthy travel, André had only 1 day to recover before going on stage. It was insufficient. Pierre acknowledged that despite André's best efforts to remain resilient, his health rapidly declined. There was nothing the team could do. They hurried André home after calling off the remainder of the tour. The news was devastating for supporters. Many have been waiting for this chance for years. Every little element had been meticulously prepared. They printed merchandise, built up stages, and scheduled planes. The more than 120 members of André's team were also impacted. Performance cancellations resulted in both monetary loss and psychological strain. The most challenging aspect: this was not covered by their insurance. Pierre reminded everyone that health comes first, even in the face of grief. But there was more to this event. This was not an isolated sickness. It was an obvious indication that André's body needed to rest. You wouldn't believe that André Rieu is 74 when you saw him direct or walk across a stage. Reality, however, is catching up. Pierre admitted what many people are reluctant to acknowledge. At this age, traveling the world takes a toll, particularly when it includes long flights, time zone changes, and high-altitude performances. The elevation of Mexico City is over 2,000 meters above sea level. It's not just athletes who have to deal with that thin air. Anyone who puts in a lot of effort on stage finds it exhausting. Even Donna Alberti, André's lead singer, complained of severe exhaustion and nosebleeds. She had to stop mid-song to rehydrate during one performance. The emotional roller coaster of performing in front of 10,000 people and then learning the next day that the tour was cancelled was narrated by Emma, another singer. Pierre acknowledged that it might no longer be feasible to visit countries like Australia and Mexico. André isn't the only one. It concerns the team as a whole. Additionally, at risk are their well-being, vitality, and health. André had confided in his wife backstage that he wasn't sure he could undertake this type of tour again. There had been signs. He could feel the pressure, and the message was obvious as the song ended. Before things worsened, something had to change. André Rieu has previously had to take a back seat due to circumstances beyond his control. When several events were abruptly cancelled in 2016, fans were taken aback. Many were afraid that André was afflicted with yet another illness. However, the reality was more emotive and distinct. André was devastated by the sudden death of one of his valued orchestra members. He lost more than just a musician. He lost a friend. He needed time to grieve because it affected him hard. For André, the Johann Strauss Orchestra is more than just a collection of musicians. His extended family is involved. Every concert and tour is a journey that is shared by all. Fans were extremely concerned that the concert would be postponed and that a new date was still unknown until it was recently revealed that a current orchestra member had suffered a heart attack prior to a performance in the UK. The pattern is starting to become apparent. Physical strain, emotional pressure, and emergencies are all having an adverse effect. These incidents serve as a reminder of André's dedication to his art. Even though their hearts still desire to keep moving forward, they are also indications that even the strongest people need to stop, think, and recover. André took some time to recuperate after coming home to Maastricht. And in those silent days he came to a conclusion he never imagined voicing aloud. He was no longer able to perform at the same level of speed. Before he took the stage, his legs had begun to tremble. He was losing his vigor. He was afraid he would pass out on stage. That dread turned out to be the decisive factor. It was not only a medical choice to cancel, it was sentimental. André was compelled to reconsider his next course of action. Pierre disclosed that they no longer intend to reschedule the cancelled gigs in Mexico. The danger is too great. Long-distance travel-related trips might not be possible. André's routine will change even if he completely recovers. Later in the year he still intends to play in Chile, Argentina, and Colombia. However, nothing is assured. They are now approaching each year and each show 1 year at a time. The emphasis is now on Maastricht concerts where André can take more time to himself and relax in between performances. He is eliminating non-essential appearances, commercial opportunities, and media interviews. Giving up isn't the answer to safeguarding his health. Making sure he can continue doing what he loves in a more balanced and safe manner is the goal. André found something unexpected during the worldwide shutdown, when audiences were hushed and stages were black. Baking. Simple recipes and late-night baking instructions on his iPhone provided him some solace. It quickly evolved from a pastime to something more. It turned into therapy. Fans who couldn't attend his concerts were made to smile by his creations that started to show up on social media. He eventually even got a spot on Heel Holland Back, the Dutch version of the Great British Bake Off. André, however, laughed when asked if he would exchange music for baking. His love of music is too intense. Baking is a means of unwinding, not a substitute for the happiness he experiences on stage. André's heart was still in tune with the music, even during those silent times in the kitchen. It reassured him that his identity would remain the same even while tours would alter. The violin isn't going anywhere, even though it might rest more frequently. All he had to do was change the cadence and perhaps have a piece of cake in the process. André Rieu has redefined happiness from the comfort of his Maastricht home. He no longer seizes every chance. Rather, he treasures the few that are really important. He now concentrates on summer concerts in Vrichlov Square. Intimate, lovely, and near to home. He isn't attempting to be everywhere anymore. He now extends an invitation to the globe to visit him. André frequently makes jokes about how he intends to live to be 140. And that demonstrates his enduring spirit, even though it may not be literal. He is still incredibly creative and has tremendous ideas for new tour concepts. He's still working on the pace not finished. What André Rieu moment is your favorite? Post it in the comments section. If this story inspires you, please click like, subscribe, and next to see more videos.